Hello and welcome to the ISE ETF and Index Outlook for September 23rd, 2012. This is Patrick Seresna. As always, we start with the chart of the S&P 500 using that spider exchange rate fund symbol SPY. 2-3 weeks ago, we had that very bullish breakout above that 142.5 area, and subsequently followed through all the way up toward 148. Over the last week, we've now seen a consolidation off those, but it actually has been pretty impressive the way that the bulls have held it up. Traditionally, if this level up here was not going to be supported, the sell-off that would follow would have at least wiped out a better part of the rally that occurred on the QE3 announcement. So really at this stage, the early part of this week will be very, very important. If we see that overall the price action continues to contain itself at this 145 level or higher, then that will be a springboard from which the market will attempt another go at the 148 level and even break to a higher high to 150, 151 on the upside before we see a more meaningful topping formation on the S&P. In the bigger picture, we think that the risk reward proposition is diminishing up here, but clearly there is momentum that's coming from the Bernanke speeches, and we're going to want to first not stay in the way of this rally until we find out where it runs out of momentum. Next, I want to take a look at the ISE Global Platinum Index, which is symbol ORE, and we saw a meaningful rally higher on that Platinum Index, right up to our 75, 76 level on the upside, and since then has been consolidating. This is going to be a very important level. We're going to be watching the 70 level on that index very carefully, because if the Platinum Index can hold that level, this should act as a base from which the next potential rally could begin. But in the same degree, if that we see any price action that breaks down below the 70 level and heads right back down to the lows, that would mean that the bulls and all the attempt of progress that they attempted would be completely undone, and we'd have to take a far more neutral to even bearish stance on platinum. So this could be a very compelling buying opportunity, but we need to really see the bulls dig in and hold these support lines right here for the first few days of the week. Next year, we're going to take a look at the ISE Global Copper Index, which is symbol ISC. This is a very similar situation to that of the Platinum Index. Really, at this stage, we saw a very meaningful burst higher, and we've seen some consolidations off those highs. What we're really going to be want to see is that as the sell-off it establishes itself here, we want to see whether this 330, 340 level really starts to bring in support and consolidation. So long as the bulls can keep copper up at these kind of higher levels, then there's room for copper to yet again break out for another attempt higher. To the equal degree, if we see copper substantially weaken all the way back down to 320 and then stay down there, that would mean that that entire rally that occurred based on the QE3 announcement had no merit or no support, and that would not bode well technically for copper index. So let's hope that the bulls can keep the support holding in here. If they do, then we could take a much more bullish stance. Probably take a week to develop, so we can always come back and re-review it next week to see whether or not a good buying opportunity has emerged. Finally, I want to take a look at the ISE Cloud Computing Index, which is the symbol CPQ, and we've seen a pretty good follow-through on the upside in the cloud computing space that has now exceeded some of our upside targets, which laid around this 220 level on the upside. So long as the cloud computing index actually continues to consolidate up here, there's room for a bullish breakout that could still yet even test the highs around the 235 level. But in order for us to see that kind of bullishness, we really need to see this focal point around this 218 level, give or take a few points, really dig in and hold initial supports early this week in order for there to be a chance of that. If we see any selling that breaks down below 215 with any momentum, it'll start taking some of the wind out of the sails of the momentum that this index has been building. That was your ISE ETF and Index Outlook. Thank you for joining me.